Night on the South today. The former owner of the old Sammy's building is disappointed about the lack of action by the Dunedin City Council. A Dunedin dog owner implores motorists to take extra care in the central city after he experienced a near miss. And anti-Three Waters protesters continue their road trip around the south, with Gore residents turning out to show their support. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. The former owner of the old Sammy's building is disappointed the Dunedin City Council left it empty and seemed to have no real plan for it. The council purchased the site from Sam Chin in 2017, and while consultants have written reports for the DCC about it, the venue is still sitting unused and unloved.
From making idols in its heyday to being owned by the council and sitting idle. Former owner of the building, which once bore his name, Sammy Chin, is at a loss as to why the Dunedin City Council has done nothing with the building it bought from him in 2017.
Well, at the start, when they said they were going to spend money doing the place up, I was quite excited. But then we'll keep the bands going. And of course, they've had meetings with the DCC, well, within themselves.
Chin ran the Crawford Street venue from the late 1970s. He says an estimated cost of $35 million to restore the venue is ridiculous and believes the entire block could probably be bought for that sum. He believes the venues the councils are looking at for theatres aren't big enough. Chin says this old building could comfortably hold about 1,000 people, or 500 for a seated event with table service.
So you need something to hold 800 or seat, 500 for a theatre restaurant. If someone wants to do a dinner and show, perfect. Sammy's is perfect for that. I've proved it. So it can happen again.
He disagrees with the council's assessment of the building as a hazardous space and reckons it was pretty solid when he sold it, despite it being 126 years old. The DCC has spent about $117,000 on Sammy's, including roof repairs, to ensure the building is weathertight. And Sam Chin was amused to hear of a secret gig at the venue in April.
I think the DCC should just give them the keys, let them do their own things. Because when whoever played here must have enjoyed it. The people that come here to see the show must have really enjoyed it. I'm a bit disappointed I wasn't invited, but it's maybe next time.
Security has been upgraded since the illegal gig. The DCC commissioned consultants Charcoal Blue to look at potential theatre venues in the city. Council Property Services Manager Anna Nilsson says the council bought the Sammy's building to protect it from demolition, but never made any promises about its future beyond that. In Dunedin, the South today.
Snow's been falling in parts of the south, and a major highway will close overnight as a wintry blast moves through. Forecasters say people should expect a big dump of snow on the Milford Road. It's also expected to be an issue for travellers on the Lindis Pass and Crown Range. However, it's good news for Otago skiers. The Cardrona Field is hoping to open this Saturday, with Coronet Peak and the Remarkables targeting the following weekend. Waka Kotahi New Zealand Transport Agency is closing the Milford Road overnight between Hollyford and Chasm due to the amount of snow forecast in the area. A Dunedin dog owner is raising concerns around cyclist safety in the city. Larry Nikvolodov regularly rides his bike with 7 huskies in tow and wants more done to protect pedestrians and cyclists.
Larry Nikvolodov has more going on than the average cyclist. The Dunedin resident and his pack of 7 lively huskies can often be seen cycling and running around the city. However, this wasn't the case for a recent night driver near the central city who didn't see Nikvolodov or his dogs attempting to cross the street. The driver ended up hitting Nikvolodov, leaving the dog owner with a sprained wrist and around $500 of damage to his bike and clothes.
Watched this car drive into me. I yelled at the car, and I think that may have caused the driver to understand that there was a problem, and I mean, the incident wasn't as bad as it could have been, but I was still knocked over and had some damage and a few lacerations. Luckily, nothing happened to the dogs.
This recreation of the incident shows the van slowing down along McLagan Street and turning right onto Clark Street. Nick Volodov thought the driver was slowing to let him and his huskies cross the road, but the driver keeps going, stopping just before hitting the group.
I would have expected the driver to have a higher duty of care in operating a vehicle and, being a little bit more careful.
He admits most Dunedin drivers are cautious, but still wants more done to protect pedestrians and cyclists.
But generally speaking, people are good about it, but yeah, it seems as though the duty of care on drivers just isn't that high.
Police didn't lay any charges against the driver after assessing the situation around the incident. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Emergency services have been attending a well-involved house fire in Heriot this afternoon. Fire and Emergency New Zealand was notified about 2:30 p.m. 4 crews responded from around the region, arriving to find a house fire with smoke and flames leaping out of the roof of the house. Firefighters were able to enter the property and extinguish the blaze, which is not being treated as suspicious. The nationwide Anti-Three Waters Roadshow has continued in the south, with around 400 people turning out to a meeting in Gore. The tour is protesting the government's Three Waters reforms, with representatives welcomed by the supportive rural crowd.
Another town stop for the roadshow protesting the government's controversial Three Waters legislation. It's organised by the Taxpayers Union, with rural group Groundswell NZ joining in on the Otago and Southland stops. It's planned to run for 2 months, with the event filling the Gore Town and Country Club. Groundswell co-founder Laurie Patterson was among those who spoke at the meeting, accusing the government of bullying the rural sector.
You have to stand up to them. If you don't, they'll just take it all, the things that you've got. And we have a government that wants to bully rural New Zealand, even though it has been the only sector that has kept their economy going for the last 2 years.
The Gore meeting was the 8th of the tour, but a report by RNZ claims the protest organisers and many of the 400 people there last night haven't read the actual Three Waters legislation going through Parliament.
Have they read it?
No.
No?
No, I haven't.
No. I know a bit about it.
Taxpayers Union board member and former broadcaster Peter Williams was the keynote speaker, slamming the proposals as undemocratic.
6 from local authorities, from the current local councils, and 6 from iwi. That just does not seem democratic to me. Water is something that everybody in New Zealand uses and needs, and why Māori should have special access or special privileges around the use of water, I just don't get.
Williams says, according to English common law, which has been established in New Zealand for more than 180 years, water was a public good. Local body officials were given a chance to speak, but Southland District Councillor Don Briers and Gore Mayor Tracy Hicks didn't get a positive reception from the crowd. Spokesman for Refreshing Local Democracy, Chris Romero, told the crowd he was excited by the large turnout and said those in government are supposed to listen to those who elected them. The travelling roadshow is in Invercargill on Thursday night, before stops in Dunedin's Octagon and Central Oamaru on Friday. In Gore, the South Today.
Whaiakene, still to come on the South Today. We check out a viability study for a southern cycleway, and we meet a Good Samaritan in Canterbury.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency, and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
Koe
Queen's birthday bonus. John's having a do-over. If you missed My Mate John's Queen's birthday sale, don't despair. He's extended it for one final weekend.
And My Mate John.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
Hi, we're Age Concern Otago.
Age Concern Otago hosts a multitude of social activities, including Little Bobs.
Living Well Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. MoleMap is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Spark your joy with Jazz, the next generation from Honda.
Tēnā, welcome back. A feasibility study into a new Otago cycle trail is getting some Dunedin cyclists excited. The study is looking at a possible route between Waihola and Wingatui, which could help link the region's cycling tracks.
Taking the chance to bike off-road. These cyclists are making their way along Mosgiel Silver Stream, which could become part of a new cycle route. The $36,000 feasibility study is being conducted to explore an off-road cycle route between Waihola and Wingatui.
What we'd like to do is to be able to enable people to come out of Waihola off the Clutha Gold Trail or just whatever, ride to Waihola, off-road all the way to connect to the Tunnels Trail that then will feed through to Dunedin City.
The route will require access through farm owners' land as well as meeting Otago Regional Council's stop bank standards.
The work over the next 6 months will actually be doing that feasibility study so that we know where we can go, what our options are, what our costs are.
The route could enable cyclists to bike from Queenstown through to Dunedin without having to cycle alongside cars.
So concept eventually will be that people will be able to leave Queenstown or Wanaka and eventually ride all the way to Dunedin without actually riding on road.
The Dunedin Tracks Network Trust has also secured funding for a trail feasibility study linking Dunedin, Waitati and Waikuaiti. In Dunedin, the South Today.
New Zealand's Mountain Film Festival is celebrating its 20th anniversary, showcasing extreme adventure stories. Central Otago audiences can enjoy their pick of the films in person this month, while other fans will be able to catch the action online.
Never give up.
It's an annual celebration of extreme sports and lifestyles, showcasing some of the best adventure filmmaking from New Zealand and around the world. There were 150 entries for this year's NZ Mountain Film Festival. That's about 60 less than normal, mainly due to fewer people travelling over the last few years due to COVID-19.
A lot of the films feature the pandemic and people going and doing stuff during it. Obviously here in New Zealand we couldn't really travel very far, but a lot of the rest of the world were going through lockdowns, but they could also travel and do things.
The event began as a 2-day festival in 2002 and has now grown to a 9-day event featuring films, books and guest speakers across Wanaka and Queenstown. It's also incorporated an online festival, an element which fits in with COVID uncertainty.
We've been very lucky for the last 3 years. Our festivals fell between COVID lockdowns and we've managed to pull off live events, but we did set up the online festival as well, and that's allowed us to get into people's homes all over the country, and that's really saved us through limitations of event size and that sort of thing.
This year's program of 63 films covers a wide range of adventures, including mountain climbing, skiing, rock climbing, mountain biking and exploring around the world. The grand prize winner is a film called House of the Gods, which follows a quest through untracked jungles in Venezuela and into the depths of the Amazon rainforest. And to help celebrate the festival's 20th anniversary, director Mark Seddon has dug into the archives to find some classic adventure films.
This is the last night of the festival. It's our 20th year anniversary, so I've gone through and I've dug out some of the old films from the archives and got some old VHS tapes and recorded them, and going to play some of the classic old films that we screened a long time ago.
The NZ Mountain Film Festival lights up the screens in Wanaka and online from the 24th of June, with Queenstown events starting the following week. In Central Otago, The South Today.
A wealthy Christchurch retiree is covertly helping people out with the rising costs of food. Many recipients don't know who he is, but get a nice surprise when they get to the checkout and find their grocery bills already being paid for.
A kind stranger who enjoys paying it forward. Dozens of people have had an unexpected helping hand from a kind stranger recently, finding their grocery or restaurant bill has already been paid. Last week, the mystery supermarket angel once again dipped into his wallet, paying for a woman's trolley load at the Lincoln New World. It's now known the mystery angel is retiree Dean Graham of Lincoln. He's the son of the late Mainland Freight Company founder, Neil Graham, and has been spreading good cheer every week for the past couple of years. He's often giving away a few $100s at a time, helping out strangers as he travels around New Zealand.
I like to help people, and I like to see and put a smile on people's face, and I like to pay it forward and to make a change on how people think.
He says the random acts of kindness can not only make people's day, it can also help change their lives. The recipients of his generosity come from all walks of life, and he chooses them with care.
Randomly, it may be a restaurant, it may be a supermarket. I'll see someone, and I'll see what they're about in life and where they're at, and then I'll slip the teller or the restaurant some money, and I'll pay for it, and I'll walk out and leave, which has worked really well. It's amazing how often I've gone into a place I've done that to and found that they've done the same thing. They've passed it on.
A well-known motorcyclist, Graham says if he can do something to help somebody in need, he will. In Christchurch, The South Today.
Whai Yakane. After the break on The South Today, volunteers from an ex-theatre Wanaka thrift shop share a mantra about fashion coming back around if you wait long enough. And we'll take a look at the weather ahead of the weekend.
Drop when you
risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. MolMat is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Queen's birthday bonus. John's having a do-over. If you missed My Mate John's Queen's birthday sale, don't despair. He's extended it for one final weekend. All lounge, dining and occasional is reduced by 25%. There's 30% off his entire range of beds and bedroom. And he's taken a whopping 50% off clearance items. Absolutely everything reduced in John's Queen's birthday bonus sale.
Get that furniture from Stafford Street and My Mate John.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. One Wanaka clothing shop is inviting locals to find a vintage bargain. The garments came from the Wanaka Theatre Group's collection, with customers getting a look back through the decades.
If you wait long enough, everything comes back into fashion. The Wanaka Showgrounds was recently filled with hundreds of people scanning through collections of vintage clothing. Garments and outfits used by Wanaka's performing artists over the past 40 years were on offer. The Wanaka Theatre Group started the sale as the tin sheds they were using to keep the costumes in had to move.
Get as many people to get as many clothes as possible so they don't end up in the bin.
Wanaka residents were keen to check out the clothes sale and walk away with outfits which had starred in local plays.
Really busy. People have been really good, really patient though. My helpers have been amazing, Robin and Joy and Ruby. Getting everything spread out and just keeping an eye on outside and doing all that stuff. People have been good and it's nice seeing things go to new homes.
The Theatre Group proceeds will help fund future performance projects. Many unsold items were donated to other theatre groups or recycled. In Wanaka, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Sam Chin, the former owner of the old Sammy's building, is disappointed about the lack of action by the Dunedin City Council over theatre plans. A Dunedin dog owner implores motorists to take extra care in the central city after he experienced a near miss while walking his dogs at night. And Three Waters protesters continue their road trip around the south, with Gore residents turning out to show their support yesterday ahead of stops in Dunedin and Oamaru. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the editor, Barry Stewart. Kia ora, Barry.
Hello, Hannah.
What can we expect in the paper tomorrow?
Well, it's actually a smallish paper, but lots in it. So we have a look at the business situation. The number of liquidations in Otago and Southland has jumped nearly 75%.
Oh, wow.
As COVID-19 pressures and supply chain issues continue to bite. So those numbers sound remarkable and startling, but dig a bit deeper, it's not quite as bad as it sounds. But then you'll find that all out when you read the story.
That we will.
Schools are starting to recover from the wave of COVID, but now flu and other viruses are hitting them, and to some degree actually, and some southern schools are scrambling to keep classes running. One rural school had 100 pupils missing on a particular day. So
wow, that's a lot, especially for a rural school.
Significant number. Well, exactly, yeah, indeed. Hospital surgeries, we had that story yesterday. There was no surgeries the previous day. There was no surgeries again today. They're hoping to get back on track. But there's no promises as to the future.
Right, so no timeline yet?
Well, they'll be back tomorrow, but I understand, but you know, it could happen again.
Right, so for how long?
They're really working on a knife edge. On a more positive note, we look at the Black Caps versus England second cricket test starting tomorrow. Hopefully that's a positive note, but we lost the first one. But the story's really about how we can get back on track there. We also have an interesting story on Tessa Jopp.
Who's Tessa?
I'm glad you asked that. Tessa is a Otago, excuse me, hockey player who's about to play head off with the Black Caps to Black Caps.
Black Sticks?
Black Caps, Black Sticks, good point. So anyway, to the World Cup and the Commonwealth Games shortly after.
Oh, good on her.
Tessa's a little different because she's one of the rare players that aren't based in Auckland and contracted. She made a commitment to stay on the family farm in Ranfurly. So
too good.
It's a nice wee story.
Yeah, well, I look forward to reading that and the rest in tomorrow's paper. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
And now time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by MoleMap.
Looking at the situation, expect gales and snow showers for much of the region in the next few days as a bitterly cold southwest air stream blows over from the Southern Ocean. Heading to the top of the South Island first, rain and thunderstorms in Nelson tomorrow with 14 degrees. Even heavier rain and thunderstorms in Greymouth, along with westerlies and 13. And 14 with cloud in Christchurch and snow above 700 metres along the peninsula. To our southern towns next. Westerlies and snow showers are on the way. Clutha, the Catlins, Lumsden and Gore will all head for a high of just 6 degrees tomorrow. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes area, more west to southwest winds and snow showers through here. The highs are fairly cool, with Alexandra heading for 9 degrees, Wanaka 7, Queenstown 6 and Te Anau just 5 degrees. To the northern towns next. Mostly fine with those gusty westerlies making their way to the east coast tomorrow too. Both Timaru and Oamaru head for 11 tomorrow. Snow showers over the way in Twizel and Omarama with a high of 8. Down to Dunedin, showers and an overnight low of 8 degrees. Tomorrow will be cloudy but dry with fresh gusty westerlies, followed by late showers. Expect a high of 10 and an overnight low of 7. Into the weekend, Saturday comes with more cloud and southwesterlies, then a sunny afternoon, up to 8 and down to 5 degrees. And now to the deep south, showers tonight with strong westerlies in Invercargill, dropping down to a cool 2 degrees. Friday will be cloudy and showery with strong west to southwest winds, a high of 6 and a low of 2. And the wild weather arrives late tomorrow, continuing into the weekend with hail, thunder and snow flurries, up to 5 on Saturday and then back down to 2 degrees again overnight. And that's the news this Thursday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or Channel 39 on YouTube. Nō good evening.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.